What's up everybody? Simon here. In this video, we're going to talk about the San Francisco American Express Centurion Lounge. It's gotten bigger as of recent and been remodeled. I happen to have a trip that was coming up. I visited it and I loved it. We're going to go over some of the upgrades they've made and what I think of the San Francisco Centurion Lounge in compared to some of the other lounges out there. Okay, so the San Francisco Centurion Lounge used to be kind of tiny. It got overpacked, overcrowded. San Francisco always has a interesting amount of people coming to it, so it gets a little weird depending on who you sit next to and so forth when you're trying to enjoy your nice champagne and your meal. Now with the San Francisco Centurion Lounge, they made a Centurion only section that's a lot bigger, and it's right by that see-through glass elevator, as you could see. The Centurion Lounge, or the Centurion Zone, actually gets monitored by the staff. So if you're not a Centurion member and people did try to sneak in and sit down in that area, they actually were asked to leave or exit that little sectioned off area for Centurion members. Now, personally, I didn't mind that Platinum members were sitting there, but I did appreciate the fact that if you're paying so much money to have a Centurion section or lounge, then the staff doing their job and asking people to move was appropriate and did make you feel like a Centurion member, where you do have your own seating area and so forth. Otherwise, what's the point of the Centurion area altogether? I was always worried that they would have the Centurion area, but people would not oblige by it. And I've seen that in the past where people just put up a sign that says Centurion members only, but other people just move that sign, walk in, sit down, do whatever. They don't monitor it. So Amex, I hope you're listening. Please do monitor the Centurion areas and make sure Centurion members get their full reward for the spend that they contribute. Now, they expanded it and took over, I think, another location, because as you could see, you could now walk behind one of the breakfast areas to the right of the bar, and you walk straight down the hallway, and there is like a second buffet that has kind of more of snack items instead of a full buffet items. So you got your salami and cheeses, your coffee station, which was broken at the time I was there, which is not cool. However, I was getting loaded up on champagne anyway. As I mentioned before, the Centurion members get a Wouv champagne, which I truly enjoy. I think it's one of the best champagnes out there, and it does the body right before the travel and your airplane boarding. So with this new area that they have, it actually gave a lot more seating, which was really nice, and it enables people to sit in a booth-like seats as well as tables. There's a second bar back there, which is huge as well. You still have your windows. You could put up your computers and work from that area as well. I truly enjoyed that they expanded it, because I got to tell you, the last few times I flew to anywhere from San Francisco, the Centurion Lounge felt like a sardine can where you're just trying to get out. On top of that, there were lines out the door. I haven't seen lines out the door from the Centurion Lounge as of recently in San Francisco, and I think that's because of the change that they've had to regulate the seating around the bar, or as you enter, go to the right from the Centurion Lounge. And as soon as you turn right, it's more of a colorful, flavored feel. If you pass the coffee station, turn right. There's a kids' room in the San Francisco Centurion Lounge. And this is where it gets really weird and funny, and it's not the fault of Amex Centurion or anything like that. But San Francisco, as I mentioned, has some weirdos. And in this kids' room were two adults with their dogs. And I had my kids and 18 or 16-month-old at that time, plus my daughters. And these two adults are sitting in the kids' play zone area with their puppies in a bag. And they're irritated that I brought my 16-month-old in there, and he's playing with the toys and turning on, Bluey or whatever is on the channels at that time. So San Francisco Centurion people, if you don't have kids, an adult should not be sitting in a kid's room, period. Maybe you guys could enforce that and say, hey, take your little doggy outside of this kid's room, because the dog is not a kid. Although I love dogs and had several over my lifespan, the dog's not a kid. That room is meant for kids to destroy, play with all the blocks and pieces and so forth, throw things around, play with the ball, etc. It's not meant for quiet time for little Scruffy. So get that dog and sit in a corner somewhere in the Centurion Lounge and then enjoy your little champagne. Purposely, even though they were irritated, I did not leave. I left my kids there so they enjoy a taste of their own medicine for what real kids are. Centurion Lounge, the food. The food has been phenomenal lately. I've personally enjoyed a nice fluffy eggs. So I enjoyed nice fluffy eggs that they made. They had crispy bacon, which was great. They sometimes have potatoes, which I love. I love the salami and cheese combinations that they offer. The food menu does change during lunchtime. However, I personally have not said that the food does not fill me up or I didn't like it or I didn't feel it was fresh. In fact, the food is so fresh at the Centurion Lounge because of so many people. The cooks are constantly cooking it and putting it out. And I'm glad now that they have a full kind of food menu or full buffet there, but they also have on the side through that long hallway additional bathrooms, but they also now have like a little bit lighter food pairing if you just want a glass of wine and some salami and cheeses and breads, food of that nature, or just have a cup of coffee away from the main buffet. So now it's kind of two sides. You got your main buffet on the right, another lounge with the children play area in the corner. And then on the left, if you turn through that long hallway, is that one nice lounge area. Very recently, a follower of mine from YouTube gave me some videos of his Centurion Lounge experience, and he said he loved it as well. It felt big, roomy, airy. And I think when you go to a Centurion Lounge, the last thing you want to do is feel claustrophobic. So when you feel airy and it feels expansive and you don't feel like people are too close in your personal space, and that's why they also have the VIP area for Centurion members, I think it adds to the experience. I personally hate going to places where I feel like I'm in a bottleneck or a mosh pit or in a crowd. And I've done that when I was younger. I will never do that again. I can't do concerts where I'm standing and getting shoved and pushed or I'm fighting for seats. I hate traveling personally on holidays that are really big into travel or really big on travel where kids are off, like spring break or winter break, where you're fighting for a seat. You're standing by a table to finish, for someone to finish so you could quickly grab it before the next vultures do. That type of experience for travel for me is not the experience that I enjoy. And before, when the Centurion Lounge was smaller, and comment below if you agree, that's kind of how it felt like fighting for a table, especially when I was an Amex Platinum member. When I was an Amex Platinum member, you would not get a guaranteed Centurion seat, and then you would fight for a table just to sit down maybe an hour and a half before your flight, and you would scarf your food down, you would quickly pound your drink, and you would head out. That's not a relaxing, enjoyable experience. So before, with Centurion expansion at SFO, you would get one table that was reserved for Centurion members in the middle of the dining area. And now it's a whole section. And I would say there's about 6 tables in that section, as you could see in the picture here. That section, to me, a big upgrade. Even though some of them are like bar high seating, I still love it. One thing I love about the San Francisco Centurion Lounge is they remember me all the time, especially the waitresses or the bus people where they bus your tables. They are so nice to my family. I always tip them. Maybe that's why, but they've been working there like 12 plus years. So they've seen me as a young adult and they've seen me before kids. They've seen me after kids. And they've been always kind and courteous. You know, the bartenders do tend to switch out from what I see, but the people that bust the tables have been there a long time. Don't know the lady's name or I forgot, but shout out to you. You're a very nice woman for putting up with me and my family. Centurion Lounge, big upgrades, no lines. I love the glass elevator. It's a nice touch. I did have an issue getting in where I got into the Centurion Lounge and I think a new employee was working there and he's like, you can't bring your wife. And I said, wait a minute, check your rules and terms. I was like, I do this all the time. And then his manager quickly came behind him or behind his shoulder and said, no, Centurion members can bring in spouse and children. So overall, that was the only hiccup at this place. But once I saw the development of it, how big it is, the champagne was flowing, the nice waitress. It was just a great experience. And I think you guys need to check it out. I would say now it ranks as one of my favorite lounges in the country for Centurion. It's not necessarily the newest, the best with the view, or the cleanest. It just feels airy and open. And I think the taller ceilings add to it. I've been to the LAX lounge as well, the Centurion Lounge there, and it felt like the cafeteria had shorter ceilings, or where the buffet is, it's shorter ceilings. I just felt claustrophobic in there. It's kind of like a maze and you had to go through things. It was not my favorite Centurion Lounge. This one, however, is amazing. I truly appreciate Amex putting in more money, taking care of all of their paying members to give them a much better Centurion Lounge experience. Comment below if you agree with me. And if you do, hit the like button. Also, check out the Ideal Hour podcast. I've had members of the Centurion Amex on there talking about American Express. We cover other topics. Navy SEALs on there, real estate professionals that are top ranked in the nation. You name it, they're on that podcast, and more guests are coming every day. Thanks for watching. I'll check you here in the next video.